All right, we're live. Sorry for the delay here, but we're going. I'm Tony Jeffs, and I've got Crazy K here with me, Glenn Kazawa. We collectively run the run platform operations for Topcoder, and what we're here to do today is to give you an introduction to our talent as a service offering that has been getting a lot of chatter and a lot of talk lately. So we wanted to. Hey, Nick, you've got an echo there. Sorry. Thanks. So we're going to give you a bit of a walkthrough of what talent as a service is, and then spend about 10, 15 minutes walking through that, and then would love to open it up to questions to everybody. Hoping you've got some good ones out there that we can help answer. So first slide there, Nick. So starting out, what is TAS? So we're referring to talent as a service as TAS. So we'll walk through a few key elements to explain how we've rolled it out and give you some insights into how we're operating it, what it means for you, what it means for our customers, and how it impacts our community in general. So when we think about it, there's really two key things to the thought process. First off, our community is full of extremely talented individuals with skills that are in high demand, right? So all you guys out there, we know that, and there's a lot of you, and we've known that since the beginning of Topcoder, and we're reminded of it pretty much every single day. We outright have the best community in the world. So second, we have a process and a system to verify the quality of talent. So think things like our competition models, the way that we do peer reviews, the way that we do systematic reviews on marathon matches, historical data tracked on profiles, achievements earned in various tournaments. That all puts us in a unique position to describe the quality of our community with respect to delivering real work against real projects. Right? We know that you guys all have proven skills, and we can show customers that. So keeping those two things in mind, talent as a service comes into play now as another way, separate from our competition model, to connect our community to our customers. And that's really the key there. I'm going to highlight a separate way for a couple of reasons. So it's separate from our competition model. First, it's in task projects, you're working directly with customers. So you're not actually working through the competition model to perform the work. You're working directly with them. So think of it much more like a freelance gig or contracting, where you're on a project and the customer is directly assigning you work to do through tasks or whatever they would normally be doing. And then second point about it being separate is we're positioning tasks as a new set of work that we're getting from customers. So it's going to be adding to what you're seeing out there already for work coming through in the form of competitions. It's not being rolled out as a replacement for competition work in any way. It's net new work that'll be coming through, and TAS is a way for us to capture work that we weren't necessarily well positioned to get in the past through the competition model for various reasons. So think of this as net new work that you'll be seeing launched through the platform. Next slide, please, Nick. And then, so who are these customers? So up on the screen, you'll see a bunch of labels, but just to kind of give a quick overview, it's a variety of industries across different verticals. They're starting to approach us about a model like TAS, and we've been actively speaking with them about various engagements. Some of them are existing customers that are working with us through our competition model, that are reaching out with additional types of work, additional types of projects that they're looking for TAS to fulfill. And then in some cases, they're brand new customers coming to us because of TAS, because we've been talking about this and starting to roll out the offering. Next slide, Nick. And as we're talking about this with them, we're learning through it for sure, but we're finding that they have needs that stretch beyond that competition model. And some of the things that we're finding them doing and problems that they're looking to solve are things like establishing quick Scrum teams or adding capacity to existing Scrum teams, being able to quickly augment a team to meet deadlines with a short timeline, creating focused programs, or pulling a team of resources together really quickly to get ahead of, or to be first to market with something. How do we build an app really, really quick and get the resources for that? They're filling talent gaps. So trying to find a data science resource sometimes is difficult for customers. So being able to quickly tap into talent that they wouldn't necessarily be available or have available to them are some of the things that they're looking to do. And this gives them all sorts of benefits like skills on demand, access. It lets them accelerate the onboarding process. They don't have to go through long recruiting and hiring processes to find talent. Our community is already used to working remotely, so from that standpoint, it's an easy fit, right? You guys are constantly working virtually and you're working on multiple platforms. It gives customers flexible resourcing, so they can ramp up, ramp down to adjust for their speed and scale needs pretty much on demand by going through a model like Task. Next slide, Nick. Then I'm not going to drill too deep into this, but just so you know that there is a customer side of this where they are able to come to our platform now. They come to the Connect app and they can put a request in for tasks. So we have incoming project requests and resource requests coming in through the platform now. Customers are basically letting us know what types of resources they're looking for, how long they need them, when they want to start, any other restrictions that might help us determine a match for someone in the community or a group of people in the community to that particular customer's needs. So that's coming in from the customer demand side. Then if you jump one more slide, please, Nick. So this is the important part for the community. So this is where it really starts to get real for you guys. This is how you get started with tasks. So broke it out into four main things. We're trying to keep it as simple as possible. We're definitely early stages in this, so expect there to be evolution and change, and we'll learn along the way, but we'll definitely involve you and be very transparent throughout all of that. So we want your feedback coming in as we're building this out as well. That feedback is critical so that we get this rolled out and scale the right way to be beneficial to both our community and to our customers. But first thing is opt into tasks. So there's a new page on the site. You can actually navigate to it if you go to the compete area of the site. So right alongside where you find challenges and competitive programming, you'll see an option for tasks. That brings you to a new listing page for task opportunities. And if you haven't done it already, first thing you want to do if you're interested in participating in this is look for the option on there there's a general one just to sign up for tasks. It's not committing you to anything specifically. It's basically a way for you to raise your hand and say, yes, I'm interested in this. If opportunities come along in the future that I think I'm a good fit for and I have time to do it and I want to be involved, then that puts you in the overall pool of people in the community that we are going to be targeting and marketing to. So step one, basically raise your hand and put your name into the ring there. Second step is if you haven't competed yet on Topcoder, go find a competition that interests you and give it a try. The way that we're qualifying people in tasks, the way that we qualify our community members is actually through our competition model. So when we present profiles to customers, they're specifically looking at your competition history on Topcoder. So that's a huge way for us to say this person has proven experience in these skill sets. So the more you've competed on Topcoder in the past, the more it'll help you get matched to a customer. If you haven't competed yet, not a huge deal. It's a great time to start and give it a try. We've, with the help of Glenn actually and some of our community members, we've started to launch learning challenges and some specific challenges that are out there that are going to help people qualify for specific types of roles that we're looking to fill from customers. So a quick example of that is, I believe later today, you'll see some challenges go up to learn Salesforce development. So there'll be a small series of challenges that walks you through some Salesforce development and will help you qualify for upcoming opportunities that we have to fill Salesforce needs for customers. So that's step two. So definitely build up your profile at Topcoder. Step three, on that same page that's mentioned at the top of the slide, there are specific opportunities, specific roles that we're looking to fill for customers that have been coming in and looking to build teams or augment their staff or do the various types of things that I was talking about a few slides ago. So if you see an opportunity that you're interested in, there's an Apply Now button. Click the Apply Now button. It'll bring you to a quick form, ask you a few pretty simple questions. Probably takes you about a minute or so to fill out. Submit that, and that will be your way of alerting us that you are interested in working on that particular opportunity. So that basically triggers a matching process for us. So we'll review your profile, we'll review the customer's requirements, and if it's a good fit, then the next step would be number 4, where we would onboard you onto that customer project. So at that point, you're connected directly with the customer, and you're working with them one-on-one, much like in a gig or freelancer contract model. So typically, you're going to be in their tools, in their systems, and having a lot of direct interaction with them. So again, that's also different from the competition model. This is something where you will be working one-on-one, and we'll have direct interaction and conversations with the customer resources. And then next slide, please, Nick. Sure. Hang on, I gotta find it here. So yeah, go ahead, Glenn. You want to read it out? Thanks, Glenn. Yeah, next slide actually gets into Q&A. So if there's questions coming in, we can take those. If not, there's some common questions that are asked that we can run through. Okay. So Nick, do you see any other questions yet? Otherwise, I'll go through some of these.
Okay, can you hear me now? I don't think I was muted before. Okay. So yeah, so the question was, um, when do you expect to receive a response after you apply for a task opportunity? So ideally, it's going to be within 24 to 48 hours. I've been a little bit backlogged, but I got almost everybody in the last 12 hours. Yeah, I think my audio is still messed up or something. There it is? Okay. Oh, got it. Okay. Yeah, so I'll be responding pretty soon within the next 12 hours if you haven't got a response from me already. It'll be full of next steps, requirements, and if it's for a specific opportunity, what the details are on that and what the next steps are. Okay. Which payment scheme would be made for Topcoder members who would be qualified for tasks, hourly or fixed? So right now it is a fixed rate based off upon your rating. So I got a lot of questions about this, and so I try to beat it to the punch. So if you are, like a long time member, we have worked with you a lot, and your rating might be, lower for some reason, but we know that your experience is higher. Those situations are, like pretty negotiable if you have a lot of experience within Topcoder itself. But the baseline for everything that we're paying will be based upon your Topcoder rating. Like hence the need to compete and improve yourself, within your different technology stacks in order to get the rate, in order to get the best rate possible. Do you have anything to add to that one, Tony?
No, just key points there, which you said. It's a weekly fixed rate. It scales up and down based on your rating. So if you are rated higher, you have more potential to earn more. And there also is some variation based on the role that you're taking on. So there might be a slightly different rate for QA versus design versus data science versus dev. So that is actually laid out if you go to the FAQ page. So you can link to that from the bottom of the tasks listing page. You'll see some information about how we're setting up payments right now. Again, that's a starting point for us. So we're definitely flexible as we move through this, but we want to we want to learn from it first. We want to try that model, and then we'll see how the market reacts and how it works out.
Great. So we got, is a member allowed to join more than one task group? So before I answer that question, so one caveat is, depending on who the client is, the expectation is likely going to be like full-time work. So they are, requesting your time 40 hours like a week. So, what does that mean like a competitor, like a Topcoder member? Does that mean that you're literally, on your computer 8 hours a day, and that the client is there? Like not necessarily, right? So if you are one of our great, developers, designers, and you do the work of, five people, in half the time. So it takes you 4 hours to finish like a project or a task, and then you're done. Then then you're done. Uh, but as far as from like a client's like utilization perspective, like the expectation is that you are like a full time resource, and it's going to vary heavily on what type of client that you're working with, and even within the team within the client if who you're working with. So if they're more project based and task based, then it might be something more similar to what you're used to. If the client is expecting you to be, in meetings for at least like 2 hours part of the day, and the rest of the time he lets you do your work, that's up to them. So this is where there'll be a lot of variability because customers are all different. Um, that's my caveat on that. So like, can you join more than one task group? Like, sure. It will they all require full time commitments? Probably. So if you can manage 16 hours of work and shave it into like 7 hours while making all your stakeholders happy, that's fine. Do you have anything to add, Tony?
No, I think that was a good explanation. Basically, manage your time. Don't overcommit. Right there, you don't want to sign up for something that you're not going to be able to perform on. Right, that's not going to look great for us. Not going to look great for you. So, just make sure that as you're signing up for opportunities, that it's something that you're willing to commit to, and just like anything else, check your schedule, check your other commitments, and be fair to yourself and be fair to the customers.
Yeah. And over time, we're going to be monitoring this utilization. So we'll know how many task engagements that you're part of. We'll know, how much, for me and Tony, like we'll know how much like money that you're making. And just to be sure that, if we put another opportunity on top of you, you will be able to handle it. And if you actually get to that point, there'll be a conversation between you and us.
Yeah,
How
we have more
will,
questions. This is good.
yeah, how and how much will co-pilots be involved in this model?
You want me to
Um,
take it, or do you want it?
yeah, go for it. Oh, you can take it. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the formal role of co-piloting right now will not be involved in tasks. Right. So a lot of what co-pilots do are they manage work through the competition model, through the platform, on behalf of a customer. In this model, we're kind of saying the customer and the developer are going to directly work with each other. So it removes that layer from there, that management layer of it, where we're managing the actual outcomes. Having said that, if you are a co-pilot and you do want to get involved in tasks, you still can, right? So if you want to sign up for a development role, or we've got some demand for tech lead type roles and project management type roles, which I think in often cases it's a good fit for co-pilots. I think those opportunities will be there as well. But the concept of formally co-piloting challenges or assigning tasks to other members will not be part of task engagements for now.
All right, next question. Since this will be a new type of work, does this have any fees like Upwork, freelance, and the other freelancer sites?
So there's no fee for community members. There is a fee for customers. So if you're working on a task opportunity as a member, you won't have to pay a monthly fee or anything like that, or part of your pay doesn't come as a commission to us. That's kind of different from I think what you're thinking. Hopefully that answers. But yeah, short answer is no fee to the community.
Can we see a pipeline? Can we see any pipeline for tasks? Can we know what are the tasks, where the task works in the pipeline for us to join for data science? I guess I can answer for us. is there a pipeline? And do we have visibility on it? Yes. Um, the hardest part for us to be able to decipher is it's a opportunity that is likely to happen or less likely to happen. And we have a few indicators and levers that allow us to be able to figure this out, but it's still a little bit difficult. So we could, if we could let you know about the pipeline, but 90% of it is stuff that probably won't happen. So we're very careful with what we do put in front of you guys, that they're actually real opportunities and they're not like fake opportunities that we're putting in front of you. So if it does make it to the task page, it's been qualified enough that it is actually happening or is very likely happening. For data science itself, it's going to come. Right now, we don't have those particular opportunities. But the more we do this, we'll get to the point where there will be a need for like a data science individual or a data science team of task folks. And I think it's definitely coming in the future. But right now, we don't have that in the pipeline.
But definitely keep an eye on that same page. So we'll continuously post opportunities as the demand comes in. So if you go to that task page, it'll show active listings that we're looking for people to sign up for.
So work and tasks will be further subdivided into number of tasks, and then it's up to task member which task he wants to pick up. No, not exactly. So that is more of our traditional like task model. So can there be agile team leader out there that does exactly what Topcoder does, and expects you to pick up tasks like in an open market? Maybe, but very unlikely. So most likely you'll be a team leader that assigns you work, and then you complete the work within a certain amount of time, and then you move that issue to complete, and then you move on to like the next item. So whether it be story points, whether it be issues, that'll be the traditional way that you work. It is not a traditional top career model. It is a person that's your boss that's basically assigning you work. Is like the better way to kind of frame it. Do you think was that fair, Tony? Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, one example could be customer, let's say, uses Trello and they've got a Kanban board with a bunch of tasks for the current sprint, and you may become part of a team that they're working with, and whoever the lead is there is going to assign work across the team for this week or for the next 2 weeks. So whatever is getting assigned to you and whatever you're agreeing to do is what the expectation will be that you deliver. So it's not really a thing where it's I'm going to work on it if I feel like it today. It's you're committing to work on specific things with the customer.
And the underlying foundation for that is that there's no top coder management that's actually telling you what to do. There's no top coder co-pilot that's like checking your work, and like doing QA. There's no reviewers, at least on the top coder side. It's all whatever that client has as their system or software development. This is what you're going to be rolled into. So there's an ideal state of what that could look like, but it's all going to be very dependent on what the client is doing.
We've got a TCO question.
Do you
So,
plan to? Oh, go ahead, Tony.
do you plan to include task work into TCO tracks, especially if it's going to be full-time commitment? The choice may then be tasks or TCO. Short answer is we do want to include it in the TCO in some form. We don't know what that's going to look like yet, but that definitely is on our radar to figure out how this will show up in the TCO. Because obviously, if it is a big part of what the community is working on, we want that to be represented as well. So short answer is yes, it will be, but we don't quite know yet exactly how that will surface.
Question. Oh, that's interesting. Without a co-pilot, can we make sure that the scope stays the same as agreed, etc.? So again, I think we sort of answered this. It is not technically Talker's responsibility to manage the client's project. We are managing you as a person, as a resource. We are not managing that customer's work. So we allow the client to have access to you, for work to be like assigned to you, but they are managing the work they are responsible for the outcome. They are responsible for the scope. So it's a totally different model.
Yeah, just to maybe clarify something too, which I think people may be thinking that there's going to be a set of tasks that are on the Topcoder platform that have a specific prize amount on it with a specific scope, or kind of like we do with challenges. That's not going to be the case in most of these, right? This is you're paid weekly for your time, so you get that fixed pay every week, and you and the customer are mutually agreeing upon what you're going to deliver in that given week or in that given time period. So it's not something where they're going to say, I'm going to make this $200 task and here's the exact scope of it. And then if I change the scope, you're going to go ask for another $100 or try to adjust that. It's going to be just this, kind of back and forth working relationship based on you being there for that roughly 40 hours a week expectation. Next question is it always the Topcoder member who will apply, or is it also applicable that Topcoder management asks the members to apply or even hire directly? There will be cases probably where, and we probably have done this already, where we will reach out to people that we know would be a good fit for some of these that have not been interested in tasks yet. It doesn't obligate you to do it, but yeah, we definitely have the means, obviously, to search through profiles and kind of narrow it into specific people based on matching skills. So I could definitely imagine cases where we would reach out to individual people to say, hey, we think this one might be a good fit for you.
All right, can I get a job by task? So it's not the intention of the program, but there is a possibility. Like, of course, if the client, if you work with a client very well, they have a need, that is definitely a possibility, and it's happened, like in the past, based off of what people would do in competitions and private task work. So that is a possibility, but then that is not the intention of the program. We're not necessarily stopping it. We're not here to block you from doing that at all, but it's not the intention of what TAS is doing overall. Is task selection based on my rating of profile? Yes. This question might be also based upon the fact that someone may not have like a rating, but they also have like a lot of experience, like in industry. Like they do they have a great educational background. They have their own startup, etc. So those are things that we could consider if we're putting someone in task. But part of the Topcoder model is all about us understanding our competitors and having the ratings be at the forefront of like who is competent and like what a merit-based system looks like. So by default, we're always align and lean on the competition model and like the rating system to really judge whether you'd be a fit for like a task group or not.
And just to add to that too, you don't need to be red rated to get a task, to get assigned to a task project. So we're looking at the full spectrum of ratings. So if you're gray or blue or green, if you're on that, that part of the bell curve too, that's totally fine. We actually expect a lot of the resources that we place will be more towards the middle of the bell curve on the rating scale. So don't panic about trying to get yellow or red rated immediately, or don't get discouraged if you're not at that level, because you still will get picked for task opportunities. The way that we look at it is if you're rated at all at Topcoder, you're already really good. So we're looking at we're placing the the best of the best part of the bell curve.
All right. Next question. Does more task work mean less work available for co-pilots? I mean, if clients prefer tasks, would that mean co-pilots will have less and less projects to work with? I don't think so. Right now, like even right now, and I don't think in the future that's necessarily the case. So the folks that have been interested in tasks are all new customers or segments of our existing customers that require someone to go into their environment, do some type of deployment, do some type of integration, do something that requires special access, do something that requires special hardware in order to get that specific access. So in those circumstances, um, the traditional challenge model has never worked. Hence, like this opens up like net new work like for the community. Um, does this so like our co-pilots going to be able to do the type of task work in a co-pilot fashion? So the straight answer is like no, but I don't think it's going to shrink the net work that's happening in the challenge model. So I don't think it's quite an issue from like the co-pilot angle. Co-pilots is still extremely valuable to us, and will I don't see co-pilots like going away at all. Um,
Yeah, again, just to reiterate that we're not looking to replace the competition model at all, and we're not looking to shift existing competition work to tasks. We're definitely looking at this as new work that we weren't getting from customers in the past for various reasons, right? So this opens up an opportunity to now get that work out to the community instead of turning it down or not being a great fit for it. And we definitely are going to watch those numbers. So part of what we do on the operation side is we're constantly monitoring how many competition versus tasks are going on, and how many task project work is going on, and we look at keeping that at a healthy balance, right? And that's all the way up to Mike Morris is looking at that and pushing for that. So we're definitely not looking to minimize the competition model at all. Right? That will continue to grow. If Even if we look at last quarter, actually, we ran more challenges last quarter than we did the previous quarter. Right? We had started tasks back formally in November.
is Task like a different company platform where they can hire clients? I think I know what this question means. So, are we like a staff? Is it like a staff augmentation thing? I think it's basically what the question is asking. Yes, I mean that's what like a kind of task like essentially is. So it's part of like that matching process where you match a client to talent. Um, is it very similar to, or is it similar to like an Upwork? Is it similar to like a TopTal? Yes, like it is very similar. One thing that is like a fundamental cornerstone to how we like evaluate our talent is what makes us like significantly different. So through the rating systems, through like competition play, that is where you get that, where we could say that we have better reliability, with our developers, with our designers, data scientists, testers. Um, that gives us ability to match better talent, like to clients. I think that's the root of the question.
All right, what did we have next here?
I think that's for you.
I'm not sure I follow the one that says adding further to what Tony mentioned, where example is a sprint of 2 weeks. I'll jump to the next
Yeah.
one because I know what that one is. So question is, so suppose a task member is not available to work for 2 week time. Can a member opt out of those 2 weeks work and then rejoin the next sprint? Answer is potentially, but that's where I think communication with us and with the customer has to be early and often if that's going to happen. I mean, definitely if you know that that's the case when you join or when you sign up for an opportunity, be very transparent and clear about that, and then we can work that out with the customer ahead of time. If something does come up, we all have things come up that we don't plan. Just communicate it as early as possible, and depending on the customer needs at that point in time, it may have various outcomes, right? They may say that, that's fine, we're good for the next 2 weeks, and then just pick it up when you come back, or customer may really need the resource there now, in which case we would look for a replacement. There's another question. Will the competition model be kept, or is it more likely for Topcoder to eventually move to the task model in the future? I think we said a bunch about that. If there's still not clarity there, definitely put it in the chat and we'll try to explain further, but we're definitely not looking to replace the challenge model or minimize it in any way. We're looking to grow the challenge model just as much as anything else. Next question is, how do the contracts work between the talent and the company? How does the scoping work? So contract, what's that, Nick? Oh, for example, if in the early contract it said that the talent works for 2 weeks for scope A and scope B, then the talent completes A and B in 5 days, and the company wants to go with C and D because they still have remaining time. What will happen? This sounds like a really bad math problem from high school. So we try to answer it broadly. So there's so since there is a fixed payment per week, right? And actually, that's how the customers are paying as well. There, it's much more like a contract type work or engagement where the scope is going to be fluid, right? The customers are going to vary, and they're going to be different about how they ask you to do things or what types of commitments they ask for from you. So they may go task by task and be very much in a micromanagement mode, or they may say, "Hey, this week can you build this API for us? Can you get this endpoint up and running so that we can start hitting it?" And depending on how quick or slow you do that, they're going to adjust what they're giving you. So it's going to be more of a back and forth, I think, negotiation where they're going to say, "Hey, can you do this in a week?" And you're going to say, "Well, actually, I think I can do it in 3 days." They'll say, "Okay, great. Then can you do this plus this other thing?" Now, obviously, if you feel like you're being overburdened with the amount of time that you need to put in things, and you're getting scope and scope and scope and scope dumped on you, where you're working 60, 70, 80, 90 hours a week, and you're saying, "Hey, I didn't sign up for this," that's where we want you to escalate. So we've got a weekly process that's spitting out surveys to both members that are on task engagements as well as customers to do a quick check-in to say, is the work you've been given this week, is it below what your capacity is, above, or is it just right? So we're going to do our best to monitor that and give you escalation paths to raise your hand right away if you feel like something is not right, or it's becoming unfair in any way. But other than that, we're very much looking at it on a case-by-case basis where you and the customer will establish a relationship and a working pattern. Hey, Nick, I think, did we,
Okay. Hey, we're back.
are we back? Are we back now, Nick? Okay. Sorry, everyone. Um, so there's one, I think this might be the last question, but keep them coming if you have them. Is tasks like freelance work or work from home projects for any company? Yes, it's very much like freelance work. So you're basically accepting a contract type of gig with a customer. So you're signing up to work directly with them on whatever they have to deliver. You could become part of a team. It might be just a one-off. Hey, I'm going to work individually with just you on something. It'll be a variety of things, but it is virtual work. You're working from home. There's no expectation, and actually, we're not supporting on-site resources at this point. Other than that, you're basically signing up to commit to what the customer is asking. So you're basically, you're saying, "Yep, I've got these skills, and we've matched you, and I'm able to commit to working with this customer full time for whatever duration is set out there." We connect you to the customer, and then from wherever you're comfortable working from, you're working with them one on one through virtual and online tools.
All right, next question. If I select into tasks to a particular company, can I join that in the future again? I think, yeah, generally, yes. So if you perform pretty good and there's another opportunity that comes up following like the previous opportunity, I will definitely open that up to folks that have performed well, like in the past, and have a good relationship with the client. And if that's the case, the client's probably going to even try to request you anyway. So I don't see any issue there at all. Any other questions?
And Nick, any other questions you see rolling in there? I'm just scanning quick to see if there's anything on the slide that we didn't talk about. You can still compete while you're doing tasks. Same answer as can I do same answer that Glenn gave before about can I do multiple task assignments. It's if you can manage the workload, and it doesn't interfere with your commitments, then go for it. We definitely encourage people to continue competing.
What if there is an engagement from the customer to work outside of the platform? Can this type of relationship be forged? I'm not.
I'll state an assumption on that. Maybe I'll answer it that way. So if you're saying outside of the platform, meaning they're not putting, they're not launching competitions in the platform, they're not launching tasks in the platform. You're literally, for example, getting access to their GitHub repo, and he's putting GitHub issues in and assigning them to you on GitHub, and we don't really know anything about that in terms of it being connected to the platform. That's expected, right? That's totally fine. So we're again kind of doing that weekly check-in with everybody to make sure that the match of the resource, the match of you to the customer, is working out well. But other than that, the actual management and delegation and tracking of the work is going to be most likely in customer systems and customer tools.
Yep. And if that question means, can you get a job, after the task engagement? Yeah, we kind of answered that previously too. So if it's not part of the model for you to necessarily get, like an actual job, with the client, but if that happens, we're not necessarily going to be a roadblock for you if that happens to happen. After the project, will the client give a performance assessment? Yes. So we have a system of CSAT surveys built in for like the client to get every week. That'll basically rate you as a member on that task project.
And just a follow up to that, which may be part of the thought too, is we don't yet have this represented on your profiles, right? Other than the skills that you've put on there, but the intention is to fold this type of work into your profiles as well, so that as you're working on tasks engagements, it also builds onto your reputation and your credibility on Topcoder.
Question on communication. This is a good one. So, how is communication with customers organized? Is this Slack calls? Is TC having a way to read it in case of escalations? So, it could be anything that the client uses for how they communicate within the company or how they do software development. So, if that means Jira, then they're using Jira. If that means they're using emails to send a request, then they're using emails. So it's basically going to be all up to the client on how they do it, and we will not have visibility on it on the way that they do work, because our purpose there is not to manage the work, but it's to assign the client resources. So it's again totally different model, different for every single client. But if you already are familiar with like industry standard tools, like Jet would be perfectly fine. Yeah, you'll be fine.
And in terms of the escalation point, we definitely do want to make sure that we have appropriate and easy paths for you all to escalate. So if you're ever on something and you don't feel like that's true, just let us know and we'll adjust. So that's the type of stuff we would just want you to escalate early and often if you see any potential issues.
Yeah. Another good question here. How do you prevent the company not working with talent outside of tasks after initial contract? This is a big issue in other crowdsourcing or similar platforms. Um, I think it's so twofold. So, like one, like the companies that we're dealing with are large, like multinational or like Fortune 500 like companies. Um, so, like in the case that with some rogue individual within that company go off on the side and try to use like talent like for some type of job that's related to the company, that's that scenario is probably relatively low. Whether like a smaller company or like a startup potentially want to like work with someone on the side, like something like someone that would happen in Upwork, that's a possibility. But with the type of clients that are using us, the situation in which people are using people outside of the contract is a little less likely. That's kind of my take on that one. What do you think about that, Tony?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately we can't prevent it, and ultimately it will happen in cases. My view on it is that if we make this experience a good one for both sides of the marketplace, then they will be more likely to want to connect to you through Topcoder versus going outside of Topcoder. And so part of our goal as a platform and as a company and our product management team is also to make sure that that experience is better than doing it elsewhere. And so if we can focus on that and providing that experience, then I think our percentages of what you're suggesting happening will be relatively low. All right, I think we're at the end of time and questions here. But if there are more that have been coming in, we will definitely still answer them. We'll post them up on the website or someplace and make sure that they get out to everybody. I'll also share. We'll make sure all the content that was presented here gets out to everybody. But I definitely enjoyed everyone being here. Love the questions. Love the engagement. Thanks, Glenn, for everything that you're doing around this to help out and really drive this forward. And looking to see a lot of you apply for tasks and apply for opportunities. Thanks, everyone.
Cool. Thanks, everyone.